Hey guys, I'm back with another horror movie, and once again I didn't have time to wash my face today. Fear Inc. So, there's this company that's specially designed for hardcore horror movie fans. As long as you sign up for their event, they'll create a tailor-made, immersive, and ultimate horror experience just for you. Take this woman, for example. She's running frantically through an underground parking garage with a masked man hot on her heels. Seeing that he's about to catch up, the woman calls the company boss. I quit, okay? Can you let me go? Unexpectedly, the boss hangs up on her without saying a word. Then, as the woman's running, she accidentally trips and falls, and the masked man starts walking toward her. This is bad! The woman frantically presses the elevator button, squeezing her eyes shut. But in the next second, the lights flicker off, and when they come back on, the masked man has vanished. Just like that, the woman manages to escape and runs right into a security guard, Xiao Peng. Seeing how flustered the woman is, Xiao Peng quickly asks, "What happened?" The woman explains, "It was just a game, but it felt so real that I got completely immersed in it." After that, the woman gets in the car and finally breathes a sigh of relief. Suddenly, the car radio turns on, announcing her location. Then, a pair of hands reaches out from the back seat and strangles her neck with a wire. The scene shifts to our male lead, Da Zhuang, who is a hardcore horror movie fan. That night, he and his girlfriend Xiaomei went to a haunted house bar for drinks. As usual, he complained that the haunted house wasn't scary enough and was boring. At that moment, the chubby guy from the beginning walked over and handed Da Zhuang a business card, saying, "If you want a real thrill, Fear Inc. can help. We can customize a fear experience just for you." After they got home, Da Zhuang just put the whole thing out of his mind. Why? Because he had lost his wallet, which really killed the mood. He decided to call them tomorrow instead, and maybe invite his buddies over too. The next evening, Da Zhuang invited his good friend Xiao Shuai and asked him to bring his girlfriend Da Mei over to his place. After they finished drinking, the group went to soak in the hot spring. During this, Da Zhuang brought up that fear company and said, "Since there are a lot of us here and it's nighttime, why don't we try out that company service?" But Xiao Shuai tried to stop Da Zhuang, saying that he had heard from a friend that the company wasn't legitimate. Just a while ago, a female employee from his friend's company mysteriously disappeared after participating in one of their games. She was never seen again, dead or alive. Halfway through the conversation, Da Zhuang suddenly stood up and left the pool. Then a strange noise came from the bushes nearby, and Da Mei urged Xiao Shuai to go over and take a look. It turned out to be Da Zhuang, who had put on a Jason mask and gave everyone a good scare. Afterwards, everyone went back to their own rooms to rest. At that moment, the Da Zhuang remembered what Xiao Shuai had warned him about. A woman disappeared after playing the game. Instead of making Da Zhuang back down, these words only fueled his curiosity and desire for excitement even more. So he secretly called the company, and this time, he successfully made a reservation. The next morning, while everyone was sunbathing by the pool, there was a sudden urgent knock at the door. When they opened it, it was their neighbor, Old Wang. Old Wang told them that a strange man had been lurking suspiciously outside his door, looking rather suspicious. But Da Zhuang didn't take it seriously. After thanking Old Wang for the reminder, he closed the door. Wen Zeng had only walked a few steps when the alarm in the house suddenly went off. Da Zhuang quickly turned off the alarm, grabbed a baseball bat, and looked around to see if anyone had broken in. At that moment, Da Zhuang noticed a piece of paper stuck to the wall of one of the rooms. On it, 7 large characters were written in fresh blood. "Today is the day you die." Da Zhuang was completely baffled when he saw it. Suddenly, a man appeared, covering his mouth and nose. After saying strange, incomprehensible things, the stranger laughed loudly and left. Da Zhuang immediately called the police. The police arrived quickly. After investigating, they concluded that it was probably a prank by a mentally unstable homeless person in the area, and there was no need to take it seriously. They told him to just call the police again if he was harassed next time. That evening, while a few of them were chatting in the living room, the television suddenly turned on by itself. The news being broadcast showed the area right outside their house. The reporter said that a brutal murder had just occurred. A man named Da Zhuang had killed 4 people, his neighbor and his 3 friends. After the news finished, the student got up and looked outside, but there was nothing there. Feeling uneasy, he asked Da Zhuang what was going on. Da Zhuang came clean and got straight to the point, saying that he had called the Fear Game company yesterday to book a session, and now the game was officially starting. As soon as he finished speaking, the lights suddenly went out, plunging the house into darkness. Da Zhuang tried to calm everyone down, telling them not to panic and that he would go check the circuit breaker. Just as he opened the circuit breaker box, Da Zhuang heard Lao Wang shouting. Lao Wang told Da Zhuang that someone had broken into their house, but before he could finish his sentence, a masked man rushed out and stabbed Lao Wang to death. Not only did Da Zhuang not run away, he even clapped and cheered, praising how realistic it was. He thought this was just another part of the game, and then went to tell the other three about it. But the three of them insisted that this was definitely not part of the game. Someone had actually been killed. They all urged Da Zhuang to call Fear Inc. and ask them to stop the game, but the line was busy every time they tried. With no other option, they decided to call the police. After calling the police, the officers told them to stay where they were and lock all doors and windows. Everyone else obediently locked up, but Da Zhuang secretly left the door slightly ajar, almost as if he wanted people to know it wasn't locked. After that, the group sat in the living room, quietly waiting for the police to arrive. But after waiting for quite a while, the police still hadn't shown up. Then Da Zhuang spoke up again. As someone who has watched over 1,000 horror movies, I think that when you're in danger, you should never stay inside the house. You need to be outside, get in the car. Da Zhuang, always up to something, did a somersault to the door and called out to the others, "Come on!" Soon, everyone got in the car, but they found that the car wouldn't start. Someone had tampered with it. There was no other way, so Da Zhuang had to get out of the car and go back inside the house. But as soon as he got out and looked around, oh, now there was more than one masked man nearby. The four of them hurried back into the house. Then Xiao Shuai realized his girlfriend Mei was missing. Xiao Shuai wanted to go out and look for her, but Da Zhuang stopped him, saying, "It's definitely dangerous if you go. According to horror movie logic, anyone who goes off alone is bound to get killed. So you can't go." Xiao Shuai was getting really anxious and snapped, "I don't care about your horror movie logic. My damn girlfriend is missing. Am I supposed to just stand here and do nothing instead of looking for her?" Anyway, after a heated argument, they finally let Xiao Shuai go. So what Xiao Shuai means is, Da Zhuang also wants to go along. He's already completely immersed in this game, finds it incredibly thrilling, and wants Xiao Mei to come with him too. He says, "This is just a game, don't take it seriously. If this were really a murder, wouldn't the police have shown up by now? It'd be silly for us to just stay cooped up in a house. What a waste of the experience this game offers." After one last round of persuasion, Xiao Mei followed Da Zhuang outside. But as soon as the two of them stepped out, they saw Da Mei. Oh no, the way she died was truly tragic. Her eyes and legs had been pierced by crossbow bolts, pinning her to a tree. With her last breath, Da Mei told them, "Go, don't worry about me. The masked man is nearby, he'll be here any moment." The two of them frantically ran back into the house, but forgot to lock the door. The masked man simply pushed the door open and knocked Da Zhuang out. When Da Zhuang came to, he found Xiao Shuai tied to a chair. Then, the television screen nearby lit up, and as for Xiao Mei, she was tied to the bed. The scene was exactly like something out of the movie Saw. The person on the television said, "If you want to save Xiao Mei, you have to pick up the tools on the table and cut off Xiao Shuai's left hand yourself. You only have 2 minutes." After that, Da Zhuang picked up the electric saw next to him and checked the blade was a real blade. There was no other way, and with time running out, Da Zhuang could only try to comfort himself, saying, "This is just a game," as he sawed off Xiao Shuai's left hand. After he finished the sawing, the person on the television told him that the key to open the door of this room was inside Xiao Shuai's body. Very quickly, Da Zhuang found a long-stitched scar on Xiao Shuai's chest. The key was definitely inside Xiao Shuai's stomach. Afterwards, Da Zhuang immediately took a pair of scissors and cut it open, then started searching for the key. Halfway through, Da Zhuang began to have doubts this blood was real, the blade was real. Could it be that this was actually happening for real? Then Xiao Shuai died from excessive blood loss, and at the same time the lights suddenly went out. When they came back on, Xiao Shuai had disappeared, leaving behind only a key. Da Zhuang took the key, unlocked the door to the room, found Xiao Mei, and untied her restraints. Then he called the police, saying that all his friends were dead and only he and Xiao Mei were still alive. But the police still told him, "Please be patient, we're on our way." Just then, Da Zhuang suddenly felt someone behind him. When he turned around, the masked man lunged at him, and the two started grappling. Having just lost 2 friends in a row, Da Zhuang's fighting spirit erupted, and he ended up strangling the masked man to death. When he lifted the mask to take a look, he saw that the person was actually Shao Pang. Meanwhile, Xiao Mei also woke up. Seeing the shocked look on Da Zhuang's face, she asked what had happened. Da Zhuang said that he had strangled the masked man to death. After hearing this, Xiao Mei said, "Damn bro, you better hang up the call with the police right now." Then Xiao Mei closed the phone. She told Da Zhuang, "Damn, you actually killed him too." She continued, "This game bro, when we tried to stop you halfway, it was just to make it feel more real for the sake of the show. As she spoke, the other 3 people also walked in. Everyone was fine. After learning that Dazhuang had killed Xiaopeng, everyone panicked instantly. If anyone was to blame, it was that the game felt too real and their acting was too good. Now the group started discussing what to do next. And at the time when Dazhuang killed Xiaopeng, he hadn't hung up the phone. The emergency call Dazhuang made was redirected to Fear Inc. So once they found out, they would definitely come over. After that, Dazhuang decided to turn himself in. He said, "I was the one who killed him. I'll take responsibility for this." But Xiaomei told him that the boss of this company had some connections with the police. Turning yourself in won't help. Xiaomei suggested they find a deserted place to bury Xiaopeng's body. After it was done, they would return and pretend nothing happened. As they spoke, the two did just that, carrying the body into the car. Demei and Xiao Shuai had already run away to avoid responsibility, and so the two of them drove off. On the way, Xiaomi found a bag in the car, which contained information on all 4 of them. It seems that Fear Inc. had investigated them long ago. Because they were driving too fast, they were stopped by the police. At that moment, a car suddenly hit and killed the police officer. Taking advantage of the chaos, Dazhuang and Xiaomei drove off and ended up in the wilderness. Just as they finished digging a hole and were about to dump the body, the boss of Fear Inc. showed up with his men. The two quickly hid in the nearby bushes, but they were still discovered. The boss said that the dead employee was his good friend, and he was furious. He wanted Dazhuang to experience the pain of losing a friend. After saying this, he put sacks over both of their heads. Then several gunshots rang out. Afterwards, Dazhuang lifted the sack off his head and found that there was no one around and there were bloodstains on the ground. He suspected that Xiaomei must have met with misfortune. After freeing himself, Dazhuang went to a nearby restaurant, planning to call the police. But to his utter surprise, the person who answered the phone was Xiaomei, and she was right beside him. Xiaomei told him that everything that just happened was also part of the game. As she spoke, the boss of Fear Inc. walked in. The supposedly dead Xiaopeng was actually safe and sound. Only then did Dazhuang realize what was going on. Turns out it was all a game, a play within a play. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and started drinking to celebrate. But unexpectedly, after the boss bragged a little, his employees suddenly walked up behind the 4 of them, and the atmosphere instantly turned tense. The 4 individuals present immediately felt a profound sense of unease. The very next second, with terrifying swiftness, 4 were brutally and mercilessly killed one after another. It turns out that the members of this Fear Inc. are actually a group of deranged killers. Under the guise of a horror game, they lure thrill seekers in, then brutally murder them to satisfy their twisted desires. After killing one group, there will always be another batch of people joining the game. The movie ends here. To sum it up in one sentence, if you don't go looking for trouble, you won't get into trouble. Don't do extreme things just for the thrill, or the consequences could be disastrous.